It was the summer of 1947 when one of the most famous and enduring mysteries in the history of UFO encounters unfolded in the small, quiet town of Roswell, New Mexico. At the time, Roswell was a modest agricultural community that few people outside of the southwestern United States had ever heard of. But on one fateful day, an event occurred that would turn Roswell into a household name and spark decades of debate, speculation, and conspiracy theories about extraterrestrial life. The incident began with a local rancher named Mac Brazel, who was out checking on his livestock when he discovered something unusual. While walking across his property, he noticed a large, scattered field of strange metallic debris. The wreckage was unlike anything he had ever seen, shiny and reflective, almost paper-like in its texture, yet strong and durable. Some of the pieces had odd markings, unlike any he had encountered, and the material felt unnaturally light despite its size. At first, Brazel wasn't sure what to make of it. He had heard rumors of mysterious objects falling from the sky, but this was unlike anything he could explain. It wasn't until a few days later, after consulting with neighbors, that he decided to report the debris to local authorities. He took a few pieces of the strange material with him and brought them to the sheriff's office in Roswell. What happened next remains one of the most debated aspects of the entire event. Sheriff George Wilcox, after inspecting the debris, contacted the nearby Roswell Army Airfield, RAAF, where military officials quickly took control of the situation. The military arrived in Roswell almost immediately, and the debris was swiftly confiscated. Official reports began to circulate that a weather balloon had crashed, and that the wreckage was part of a high-altitude balloon experiment. The press release, issued by the military, stated that the weather balloon was part of a classified project called Mogul, a program designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests by using high-altitude balloons with attached sensors. The story was relatively simple. A weather balloon had malfunctioned and crashed on the Brazel Ranch, and the military had recovered the wreckage. The explanation seemed plausible to some, but for many others, it raised more questions than answers. Why, after initially confirming the crash of a weather balloon, did the military suddenly retract its statement and start calling the object a balloon, but this time a different kind of balloon? Why did they go to such great lengths to cover up the true nature of the debris? And most importantly, why was the story so quickly suppressed from public view? The military's swift action, the tight-lipped attitude of officials, and the secrecy surrounding the incident only served to spark further intrigue and suspicion. Local residents who had seen the wreckage and interacted with military personnel reported that the debris was unlike anything they had ever seen before. The material was incredibly lightweight, but incredibly durable. Some even claimed that they had seen strange symbols on the wreckage, symbols that appeared to be of unknown origin. Additionally, some witnesses, including Mac Brazel's family, claimed that they had been threatened by military personnel, warning them not to speak of the incident. Despite the government's insistence that the object was nothing more than a weather balloon, many residents of Roswell were not convinced. The mystery deepened when several individuals, including military personnel, came forward years later with entirely different accounts. Some claimed they had seen the wreckage and had described it as being part of an extraterrestrial craft, not a weather balloon. They spoke of strange bodies found near the crash site, their descriptions sparking even more speculation that the crash was not of earthly origin. In the following years, the Roswell incident slowly faded from the mainstream media. The official story, the one that the military had outlined in its press releases, became the accepted explanation. But as time passed, rumors about the true nature of the crash persisted, and in the late 1970s and early 1980s, the Roswell incident came back into the public eye, this time with an entirely new angle, one that suggested extraterrestrial involvement. It was during this period that UFO researchers, authors, and conspiracy theorists began to piece together a new narrative. They suggested that the wreckage that had been recovered near Roswell wasn't from a weather balloon at all. Instead, they believed it was the remains of an alien spacecraft that had crash-landed in the desert. The most shocking detail of all was the assertion that alien bodies had been recovered by the military, and that the government had covered up the entire event. This new theory gained traction in the late 20th century, especially after the publication of several books and the release of documentaries about the Roswell incident. Among the most prominent works was the Roswell Incident by Charles Berlitz and William L. Moore, published in 1980. This book presented the idea that the US government had been actively involved in a cover-up of an alien encounter, and it included testimonies from alleged eyewitnesses who claimed to have seen the wreckage and bodies of extraterrestrials at a secret military base. According to these accounts, the craft was unlike any terrestrial vehicle, and the bodies were unmistakably alien in appearance. Though the US government continued to insist that the Roswell incident was merely the result of a weather balloon crash, the public's fascination with the story only deepened. Roswell became the epicenter of UFO conspiracy theories, with a crash site becoming a popular pilgrimage for believers in extraterrestrial life. The town of Roswell, once a sleepy agricultural community, had transformed into a hub for UFO enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Despite the official narrative from the military that the Roswell incident was simply the result of a weather balloon crash, the questions and theories surrounding the event continued to grow. Over the years, many individuals began to come forward with personal accounts that cast doubt on the military's story. As more witnesses spoke out, and as new information surfaced, a much darker and more mysterious picture of the Roswell incident emerged. It wasn't just about a weather balloon. It was about a cover-up that, according to many, hid the truth about extraterrestrial life. One of the first and most compelling witnesses to speak out publicly about the event was Glenn Dennis, a mortician from Roswell. Dennis claimed that, shortly after the crash, he was approached by military personnel who asked him to prepare small caskets for what he believed were bodies of extraterrestrials. According to his account, he was told to meet a military officer at the Roswell Army Airfield, where he was allegedly shown bodies that were described as not human. Dennis later reported that the military gave him strict instructions not to speak about what he had seen. Dennis's story became one of the most talked about pieces of evidence for UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists. His detailed accounts of strange bodies and his description of how the military controlled the information surrounding the event added fuel to the fire. What followed was a series of similar testimonies from other witnesses, including people who claimed they had seen the wreckage, interacted with the military personnel involved, and even those who described seeing strange metallic debris that did not appear to be of earthly origin. One of the most notable accounts came from Jesse Marcel, a major with the military at the time of the Roswell incident. Marcel had been one of the first to examine the wreckage recovered from the crash site. Initially, Marcel had been part of the team that had collected the debris and transported it to a military base. However, in interviews decades later, Marcel revealed that the debris was not consistent with any known weather balloon or conventional aircraft. He described the materials as being incredibly light, yet unbreakable, and stated that the markings on the wreckage appeared to be of an unknown language. Marcel's testimony contradicted the military's official story, and his revelations about the nature of the materials found at the crash site only fueled the growing suspicion that the Roswell incident was not as simple as the government had suggested. In the years following, Marcel became a vocal proponent of the theory that the wreckage was extraterrestrial in origin. He claimed that the government had covered up the true nature of the crash to prevent widespread panic, and that they had engaged in an elaborate misinformation campaign to hide the truth. As the years passed, more individuals, military personnel, scientists, and civilians came forward with similar stories. Some claimed to have seen alien bodies, while others spoke of strange debris that they had encountered or handled in the aftermath of the crash. Some of the stories even involved claims of a second crash site, where additional wreckage and bodies were supposedly recovered. However, these claims were difficult to verify, and many witnesses offered conflicting accounts, further complicating the investigation into the truth. Despite the mounting evidence, the U.S. government continued to deny any involvement in the recovery of extraterrestrial materials. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force released an official report, the Roswell Report, Fact versus Fiction in the New Mexico Desert, in which they reaffirmed their stance that the wreckage found near Roswell was simply part of a classified military project called Mogul. According to the report, the military had been testing high-altitude balloons equipped with sensitive microphones to detect Soviet nuclear tests, and the debris from the crash was mistakenly identified as something far more mysterious. Yet, for many, this explanation was unconvincing. Critics of the military's report pointed out that the Mogul theory had never been mentioned until decades after the incident, and that the descriptions of the debris did not match the materials used in the weather balloon experiments. The report also failed to account for the eyewitness accounts of the alien bodies and the supposed cover-up efforts by the military. For these reasons, the weather balloon story was widely regarded as a government attempt to quell public panic and silence those who were trying to tell a different story. As the decades passed, the fascination with Roswell only grew stronger. The release of books, documentaries, and films, along with the proliferation of UFO sightings and alien conspiracy theories, kept the story alive in popular culture. Documentaries such as Unsolved Mysteries and the History Channel's UFO Files provided further analysis and investigation into the incident, giving new generations of people access to the story and encouraging continued debate. Roswell became synonymous with the UFO phenomenon, and the town itself embraced its new role as a tourist destination for UFO enthusiasts. In the years following the release of Marcel and Dennis's accounts, public interest in the Roswell incident only increased. In 1997, the 50th anniversary of the crash, the town of Roswell held a major celebration. Thousands of people, many of them UFO enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists, flocked to the town to commemorate the event. The local museum became a hub for alien-related exhibits, and the town's downtown area was dotted with alien-themed businesses, from souvenir shops selling alien figurines to restaurants named after UFOs. Despite the passage of time, the Roswell incident remains a point of contention between believers in extraterrestrial life and skeptics. The truth about what happened in July 1947 remains elusive. Was it a secret military experiment gone wrong, or was it something far more extraordinary? An encounter with beings from another world? Over 70 years after the Roswell incident, the questions surrounding the crash and its aftermath continue to captivate people all over the world. While the official story remains firmly rooted in the narrative of a weather balloon and military secrecy, the public's fascination with the idea of extraterrestrial life and alien encounters has only intensified. Roswell has become a symbol of the mystery and intrigue that surrounds UFO sightings and abductions, fueling debates, documentaries, books, and conferences dedicated to uncovering the truth. But as the years pass, the search for answers to the Roswell incident is no longer just about what happened that night. It's about the broader question of what our place in the universe really is. The incident left an indelible mark on the town of Roswell itself. Once a small, quiet community, Roswell transformed into the epicenter of UFO culture and alien mythology. In the decades following the incident, local businesses embraced the extraterrestrial connection, offering alien-themed merchandise and tours of the crash site. The town hosts an annual UFO festival, drawing thousands of people from around the globe, many of whom believe that the crash near Roswell was the beginning of a worldwide cover-up that continues to this day. Though the military's explanation of a weather balloon has never been fully convincing to many, the Roswell incident opened a new chapter in the discussion of extraterrestrial life. It was the first widely publicized case of UFOs and alien encounters, and it inspired a wave of similar stories of strange lights, abductions, and encounters with beings from other planets. The Roswell incident wasn't just about the discovery of unknown debris in the desert. It marked the beginning of a global fascination with the possibility that we are not alone in the universe. In the years following the Roswell incident, UFO sightings began to surge. As technology advanced, more people began to document strange phenomena in the skies. In 1961, the famous Betty and Barney Hill abduction in New Hampshire added another layer to the growing phenomenon of alien encounters. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, abduction stories became more common, with individuals claiming to have been taken aboard spacecrafts, examined by extraterrestrial beings, and then returned to Earth with no memory of their experience, or strange gaps in time they couldn't explain. These accounts, while widely dismissed by skeptics, seemed to follow a pattern. The connection between Roswell and the growing body of UFO sightings and abduction stories was undeniable, and Roswell became a touchstone for those who believed in the existence of extraterrestrial life. Documentaries, books, and films about UFOs continued to be produced, drawing on the mystery of the Roswell incident as a foundation. The story had been embedded in popular culture, becoming a symbol for all the unanswered questions about the unknown. Movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and The X-Files capitalized on the public's desire to uncover the truth, mixing fact with fiction to create a narrative where the unknown was tantalizing and deeply intriguing. The more the public consumed, the more they wanted to know. The legacy of Roswell also reached the political and scientific arenas. In the years following the incident, various groups began to push for the government to release more information about UFO sightings and potential extraterrestrial encounters. Advocates for disclosure argued that the public had a right to know what the government knew about alien life, and they pointed to the Roswell incident as proof that there was more to the story than what the military was letting on. In 2017, the New York Times published an explosive report revealing that the US government had secretly been investigating UFO sightings through a program called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, ATIP. This disclosure reignited interest in the Roswell incident and the larger UFO mystery, suggesting that even the government had been quietly acknowledging the unexplained phenomenon for years. In Roswell, local officials and UFO researchers continued to search for answers, despite the challenges. The crash site, while never fully excavated, remains a focal point for those seeking to find the truth about what really happened in 1947. Researchers have pored over eyewitness accounts, military documents, and photographs, searching for any evidence that could confirm the extraterrestrial hypothesis. Some claim that the remains of the wreckage were hidden away in secret government facilities like Area 51 in Nevada, adding fuel to the conspiracy theories that the government has been in possession of alien technology for decades. In the years following the initial release of information about Roswell, many researchers and UFO enthusiasts have continued to investigate the event, believing that the government is still withholding the full truth. Various investigations have examined the so-called alien bodies reported by witnesses, but no physical evidence has ever been made publicly available. Still, many in the UFO community argue that the truth is out there, hidden by the government for reasons yet to be fully understood. The enduring fascination with Roswell is not just about uncovering the truth behind one event. It is part of a larger, ongoing quest to understand our place in the cosmos. People want to know if we are truly alone in the universe, or if, as many have speculated, extraterrestrial civilizations have been visiting Earth for centuries. The Roswell Incident, with its mix of conflicting accounts, government secrecy, and unanswered questions, has become a symbol of the human desire to know more, to search for truth beyond the stars. For some, Roswell represents a chapter of a cover-up that continues to this day. For others, it is a beacon of hope, proof that we are not alone. As time goes on, the story of the Roswell incident will undoubtedly continue to evolve, fueled by new discoveries, new testimonies, and new revelations. Whatever the truth may be, Roswell will always hold a place in history as the birthplace of one of the most enduring and compelling mysteries in the world, an alien encounter that has sparked generations of wonder, debate, and speculation. The story of Roswell reminds us that the pursuit of truth is often shrouded in mystery, secrecy, and uncertainty. Whether you believe in extraterrestrial life or not, the enduring questions surrounding the incident serve as a testament to humanity's unyielding curiosity. We may not have all the answers yet, but the search continues, both in Roswell and beyond. The truth, as always, remains out there, waiting to be discovered. Let the legacy of Roswell inspire you to keep seeking answers, whether in the skies above or in the mysteries that lie hidden within our world.